What if I told you that a simple hand gesture, an ancient practice, could actually rewire your brain for sharper focus and that modern neuroscience can now explain exactly how it works? Well, today we're diving deep into that fascinating connection where age-old wisdom meets cutting-edge science. So let's just get right to the big question, right? Can these ancient practices really change your brain? I don't just mean your mood or how you feel for a few minutes. I mean the actual physical electrical rhythms that create your thoughts. And you know what? The answer science is uncovering is a pretty definitive yes. And these two images, side by side, really tell the whole story. On one side, you've got this ancient yogic hand gesture called a mudra. And on the other, you see these squiggly lines. Those are graphs from a brand new neuroscience study, literally mapping the brain's electrical signals. They seem like they're from completely different worlds, right? But we're about to connect the dots and build a scientific bridge between them. To build that bridge, we have to start with a tricky question. How on earth can science even begin to study something as personal and abstract as belief? Well, that takes us to this really incredible field, the neuroscience of religion. So this field, which researchers call NOR for short, isn't trying to prove or disprove anything about spirituality. Its job is much more like being a detective. It just looks for what are called neural correlates, which is a fancy way of saying it looks at what your brain is actually doing when you're praying, meditating, or engaging in a ritual. And here's where it gets really interesting. One area that consistently lights up in this research is the prefrontal cortex. Now, why there? Well, because your PFC is like the social command center of your brain. It handles empathy and something scientists call theory of mind, which is just our ability to think about what other people are thinking and feeling. And it turns out we use that exact same mental tool to relate to a higher power. Okay, so we can see how belief can be mapped in the brain. That's cool. But what about a physical practice? Let's switch gears from the world of abstract thought to something we're all doing right now without even thinking about it. Breathing. Now, here's a mind-blowing fact that changes everything. Breathing is so much more than just a way to get oxygen into your lungs. It's actually a powerful tool that directly controls the electrical rhythm of your brain. The simple act of breathing in and breathing out is literally setting the pace for your brain's activity. And if you want to see the proof, look at this. It's from a 2023 study, and it is just incredible. That top wave, that's just the simple rhythm of breathing in and out. And all those little black spikes underneath, those are individual brain cells firing away in the prefrontal cortex. You can see it right there. They are perfectly in sync. Your breath is the conductor of your brain's orchestra. So now we've got these two huge ideas on the table. We know that belief activates specific parts of our brain, and we know that our breath can literally set the rhythm for our neurons. So let's see what happens when we put them both together in a real-world example, an ancient practice called the Ganesha Mudra. In Hindu tradition, the deity Ganesha is revered as the remover of obstacles, but he's also the ruler of intellect and wisdom. So this hand gesture, or mudra named after him, is traditionally used to build confidence and give you that strength to push through when things get tough. Let's take a look at how it works. The practice itself is pretty straightforward. You bring your hands to your chest and hook your fingers together. Then, as you breathe out, you gently pull your hands apart, but you don't let go, creating a bit of tension. When you breathe in, you relax that pull. You repeat that a few times, and then switch your hands. It seems so simple, but from a neuroscience perspective, every single part of this, the pull, the release, the breath, is doing something very specific inside your brain. Let's break this down. First up, that pulling motion. You're using both hands and pulling across the center line of your body, and that, it turns out, is no accident. This type of movement is called a cross-lateral movement. What that really means is, by engaging both sides of your body like this, you're literally forcing the left and right hemispheres of your brain to talk to each other more efficiently. Think of it like clearing the static on a phone line between the two halves of your brain. It just helps everything work together more smoothly, which is great for focus. But that movement is really only half the story. The secret ingredient here is how you synchronize that movement with your breathing. You pull when you exhale, and you relax when you inhale. And this is where it all clicks into place. First, that physical tension of pulling actually increases blood flow, which rushes more oxygen and energy to your brain. And second, just like we saw in that study, your rhythmic breathing is setting the pace for all those neurons in your prefrontal cortex. So you're giving your brain more fuel and you're giving it a steady beat to follow. You're basically priming it for peak performance and sharper focus. So when you put it all together, what does this tell us?
Well, it shows that these ancient practices aren't some kind of magic. They're about physiology. It's about skillfully using your own biology.
The real power of a practice like the Ganesha Mudra is that it unites everything. It takes your focused thought, your intention, and combines it with a physical action that directly influences your brain. The cross-body movement improves communication, the rhythmic breathing sets the pace for your neurons, and your belief itself activates those higher-level brain centers. This is literally where belief meets biology.
And that really leaves us with a final question to think about. We've just seen how a simple rhythm of breath and movement can literally tune our brain's activity. So, if that's what's possible with just a few minutes of intentional practice, just imagine what else we're capable of when we really learn how to work with our own minds and bodies on purpose.